this is Ginger from My Sister Scrapper. Today I want to share a tutorial with you, and I apologize for all those people that tried to get the Snapguide to work. For my Kaleidoscope paper bag mini album, which I have a video on, and I'll link down to the bottom of that video, I did a little Snapguide tutorial on how I created this little cascading waterfall insert. Well, I found out that there was a typo on one of the measurements, so I went back in to edit it, and then just republish it. Well, it wouldn't let me republish it. So I tried several times. It wouldn't let me. I tried to contact support for Snapguide. They have not responded. So I deleted that Snapguide and created a new one, but it still won't let me publish it. So I thought, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to do a video tutorial. So this is a tutorial on how I created this cute little cascading waterfall thing insert for my Kaleidoscope paper bag mini album. So I'm going to give you all the stuff you need to know right here. We're going to need a scoreboard, obviously, your paper trimmer, your scissors, piece of chipboard, corner rounder, glue, you know, all those good things. So I'm going to give you the measurements for what I used in here. If you want to make it different, just adjust the measurements. But if you don't want to do the math, guess what? You can do this size. So for your chipboard, it needs to measure 4 inches by 6 inches. Okay? I use medium weight chipboard right there. And your cardstock to match. Now, obviously in this, I did black, but you know, black doesn't show up on camera very well. It's kind of hard. I don't like to use black in a tutorial, so I'm going to use some craft. But I did double map this, okay? So my chipboard 4 by 6, a piece of cardstock to wrap the chipboard, and I made it 5.5 by 7.5. And then you're going to need a piece of another cardstock that's 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and that's to cover the other half of the chipboard. For your little bell, your little closure, it's going to be 1 inch by 5.5. And then the pages in the cascading waterfall are here. We've got the biggest is 4 1/4 by 5.5, 4 inches by 5 inches, 3 3/4 by 4.5, and 3.5 by 4. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap our chipboard. Now, since this is such a small piece, I didn't do any scoring. I just, you know, kind of did the lazy way to wrap it because it is a smaller piece. So I'm going to take my chipboard, and here I've got my 5.5 by 7.5. I'm going to add my adhesive here, and I'm just going to center it over my chipboard like so. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so we got the tape backing off, and we're going to take this and we're going to center it on our piece of cardstock. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're just using this to wrap the edges of our chipboard. And I want to stick it down, just like so. I like to go around the edges of my chipboard. Okay, and then we're just going to help the cardstock fold by standing it up on the table and folding it over. Now I'm going to take my score tape again. I'm going to add it to the perimeter of my cardstock. I like to add my tape before I trim my corners, but you do you, okay? And normally I would add a piece If I was doing a mini album, I would add another small piece here, but this wrap is so small we don't really need any more tape. So we're just going to take our scissors now, and I'm going to do my corners. You do the corners how you like to do the corners. I personally, for me, like the look of a mitered corner. You can cut it at an angle, okay? So what I like to do, and I just eyeball it, I'm just going to cut it off like this, okay? But again, if you prefer a square corner, just cut the corners out. But you got to do something to get the bulk out of there so you can wrap your chipboard. Okay, now we're just going to take the backing off. One side, fold it over, and wrap it. Then I'm going to do the opposite side. Okay. Now we got this. We got these little corners. I just take my finger and just kind of punch them in like this, and then take the backing off. Oopsie, and fold it over. All right. There we go. Do the other side. Okay, there's our piece of chipboard. Super easy. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to make our little flaps first. Now, this pretty wrap side is the back of your element. We're going to add the pages to the top, and it hasn't been covered yet, but we're going to do that at the very end after we get our pages. So grab all your pages, and I'll go through the measurements again one more time. Okay, I'm going to set the chipboard aside. We got our scoreboard out again. And we'll start with the 3.5 by 4. We're going to put it right here. 3.5 is here, 4 inches going down. Score it at 1/2 inch. Okay, there's the first one. 3 3/4 by 4.5. 3 3/4 across the top. Again, they're all scored the same at 1/2 inch on the left side here. Next piece, 4 inches by 5 inches. Again, place it in here, 1/2 inch. And our last one, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Place it with 4 1/4 here and score it. Okay, now we're done with our scoreboard. We can put it away. And we've got our pieces here. And we are going to add our tape to our 1/2 inch tab. I like to add my tape before I fold it over. Sometimes I'll fold it over first, whatever works. Okay, so we've got this on here. I'm going to burnish my tape. We're going to fold on our score line. So when you flip it over, you've got it folded and your tape's on the top. Okay. Now you can round the corners if you want. I didn't because I didn't have rounded chipboard. That's why I did not. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got them in order here. They're going to sit just like this. And we're going to grab our chipboard and we're going to have the pretty side of our chipboard that's already wrapped facing down. And we're going to work in reverse order. So the largest to the smallest. So we've got our piece that was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is the left side of my chipboard, and I'm going to go ahead and take the backing off, and I'm going to center this top to bottom, flush with the left side, and then you should have equal spacing on 3 sides, okay? Now I'm going to turn it this way because it's easier for me to get it straight. So before I do that, I just want to make sure there's no overage. So I'm just going to angle my corners just a smidge. Take the backing off. Again, we're going to line it up on the, it's going to go like this. This is our left edge. I'm just facing it this way so I can get it straight and not get my head in the camera and have my husband holler at me. And we're going to add this to the edge. And again, it's going to be flush. Like so. Okay. There's our first one. Okay, now we're going to cover this ugly up with our other piece of cardstock, but we want to add the next piece, which is the 4x5. We're going to put it right on top of that first page that we added. So again, I'm going to trim my corners. And this really isn't necessary because we're going to have design paper on there, but it's just habit, I think. Centering it, flush with the left edge. There we go. Again, the next one, which is our 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. Same thing. We're going to just add it flush to the left side, centered it top to bottom. And there we go. Cuteness. Okay, our last piece right here, which is 3 1/2 by 4. Oopsie, forgot to trim my corners. And the last one. Okay, so there we have it. We've got, oopsie, first page, second page, and they get bigger, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover this mess up. This piece is going to measure 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and we're just going to glue that down right over the top, okay? And I'm going to use the wet glue for this, just because it's handy. Okay, so now it's all pretty, just like this. Now, it kind of has a tendency to do this. That's why you've got to have some sort of a closure. In my sample, right here, for my project, I used a little belly band, or a little band with a little magnet. Now, you don't have to use a magnet if you don't want to. What you could do is you could just make a belly band that would actually slide on and off. That'd be super cute. Or if you want to do it the way I did, this is how I did it. I have a piece that's 1 by 5 1/2. I took it, I didn't do any scoring, I just laid it on top. I kind of centered the edge of this so it was in the center of that first page. And again, centered top and bottom. And then I held it down and I just took my hands and I just folded it over, okay? Just like that. Then I took it out and I folded it with my bone folder, okay? Because there's a little bit of thickness there with all the pages. So then what I did is I, again, put it back on there and I flipped it over, added my score tape to the back or glue or whatever you choose to use. This is my personal choice. Okay, and then before I stuck it down, I brought it back over to the top side and made sure I had it in the right spot and it was even on the front. And then I just pressed it down like this. And I didn't care what the back looked like because I'm going to put paper back there. Excuse me, and nobody's going to see it. So there we go. And then for here, I just went ahead and added my little magnet closure. right here. And then that kept my little book closed. So there you go, everybody. Again, I apologize for the snap guide, but again, I have a love-hate relationship with technology. It loves to hate me, I think. Anyway, that's my little project that I created. That's the tutorial for the little cascading waterfall mini album insert. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Bye.